Speaking of the Bay Area,
Mhm.
do you have a favorite team? I know you mentioned the Warriors. Being, I guess you grew up around them.
Mhm.
Is that your favorite team out there?
Huge Warriors fan.
Oh God.
First NBA game I ever went to, it was a Warriors game. My parents surprised me because they have this train system. It's called BART. So they
Hmm.
took me on BART to Oracle Arena. That was the one in Oakland. And so I was like confused. I was like, where are we going? And then there's like a station like right near Oracle, and then we get off and I see it and I'm like cheer. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So yeah, I've been a huge fan for years and years and years. It sucks because I left in 2015 right when they won their first championship.
See.
So
Yeah.
I'm like I'm upset that I can't experience their success like with
Yeah.
them, but I'm like I'm
Facts.
cheering from the sides. Don't worry, I'm cheering.
And the worst part is like you're in Atlanta while they're
Mhm.
winning, so you can't even claim them properly. You're like, bro, you're a bandwagon
Everybody
dad.
thinks I'm a bandwagon. Everybody thinks I'm a bandwagon. And I'm like, I promise you, I have like pictures of myself like as a little kid in Warriors jerseys. Like I
Hmm.
pulled them out. I'm like, I have receipts. I've been a real fan
God.
forever.
See.
Mm.
Is Steph your favorite player, or do you have a
Yes.
favorite player?
Well, so Steph is like a player. I have like my favorite player is Kevin Durant. It's
Okay.
always been.
Hmm.
But Steph is like somebody that I like watch and I really enjoy watching because I like to pick apart his game. Not just like the shooting from half court, but just like the little
Yeah.
things that he's doing when you're not paying attention to him.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, I watched one of your TikToks where you were kind of in defense of Kevin, and I'm like, I don't know about that, bro. Like Kevin been acting a fool these last couple years. All
He
these.
okay. So in my defense, this was before he tried to force a trade from Brooklyn because
I don't know.
I feel like him going to the Warriors. I mean, I'm a Warriors fan, so of course I'm not.
Hmm.
Super biased. This is not
Right.
objective at all. I was like,
Right.
come on, come on. Um, but I think that he is critiqued really hard because I think we assume that people who have his amount of skill are supposed to have a certain personality type,
Hmm.
and he does not have that personality type. And I
Yeah.
think that we kind of sort of can respect it. Like he's like, I'm not gonna be the top person. If I'm not winning, I'm going to leave. If it's not working for me, I'm gonna go where I
Yeah.
know I'm going to win. And I kind of have respect for it because like if you knew you were gonna get paid a lot more at a different job, you would dip. No
Facts.
questions asked. The
Facts.
only
Facts.
difference is that there's so much scrutiny and everyone wants him to do what is morally right. What do you mean what's morally right? He wants a championship. The Warriors went 73-9 last year. That's the
Yeah.
easiest place for him to get it. Why would he go where he has to break his back and, and do all this work where he could get two easy championships? And they weren't necessarily that easy. Like he still had to perform and he was the best
Mm,
player on that team. So I think
facts.
that like people need to put a little bit more respect on his name while also like acknowledging that like not everybody's Kobe, not everybody's LeBron, and not everybody's Michael Jordan. They're not, you know, like I don't want to say he's not a workhorse, but he's not going to be like top dog alpha like personality.
Hmm.
Like he's just who he is, and I have a lot of respect for it.
I'm glad you brought up Kobe because I'm like that's when I think of an all-star,
Mm-hmm.
superstar NBA player who
Mm-hmm.
starts from nothing and builds their reputation.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think about as far as Kobe's concerned. And that's why he's
Mm-hmm.
my favorite player of all time. He's
Mm-hmm.
my GOAT, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not objective whatsoever. I don't have
Yeah.
any stats to back it up outside of his 5 rings.
Uh-huh.
The mama mentality is not
Mm-hmm.
quantifiable, but you know when you see it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's Giannis is on 10 with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when I think about my own personal behavior, this is where I become a hypocrite because if
Mm-hmm.
I go to first of all, LA Fitness is like the worst brand of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's Steph Curry in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't help
Literally.
that the line is like 10 feet from the rim. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody in there just chucking
Mm-hmm.
nonstop. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
going there, I'm trying to get my assists. You know, I'm trying to
Yeah.
fill up the box score, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about like, if I go in and I get there early enough to stack my team, I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
stack my team. And
Right.
everyone in there is like, we're trying to stay
Right.
on the floor the entire time. But
Mm-hmm.
then all of us hoopers, we go to Twitter. Immediately, we see Kevin Durant doing the same exact thing we do, except he's getting
Mm-hmm.
paid millions to do it. I'm like, of course, I would love to hoop all day and
Mm-hmm.
get paid millions and
Mm-hmm.
win at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I hate losing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hyper competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So if I lose one game at LA Fitness, I'm done. I'm walking out. I'm like,
Oh
bro, this team was
wow.
stacked, bro,
Mm-hmm.
and bro, y'all was chucking, bro. I had like
Mm-hmm.
three straight threes. Y'all ain't feed your boy. Like
Mm-hmm.
I lose sleep over type of stuff. So I don't critique him too much.
Mm-hmm.
But then when Draymond Green comes in and says, well, people are getting mad that NBA players are becoming, businessmen. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, what kind of businessman opts out of a contract 1 year in? I'm like, we can't have both.
I agree with you. I'm not a huge fan of the whole forcing a trade thing, just because it's like you don't have to sign a long contract. You don't have to sign
Yeah.
extensions, right? Like, and you have your agents and your lawyers and people around you who are advising you. So if you're not certain that this is where I want to be, you are in control, you know? Especially when you're Kevin Durant.
Right.
You're always in control. You always have bargaining power. So
Facts.
now that he's like attempting to force this trade, I'm like, Kevin, I had your back, but now we're just causing chaos for the sake of.
Yeah.
And I'm not really a fan of that. Also, like I think I don't like Steve Nash as a coach. I can't
He ain't a
lie.
coach. He just sits there. Like,
Yeah,
he ain't doing shit.
as a just literally just keeping the seat warm.
Basically.
I'm I'm not really a fan of him, so I understand maybe Kevin's frustration in that regard, and then just how things played out in Brooklyn. But at the same time, like, you knew Kyrie was weird. We all knew he was a little bit like inconsistent
Yeah.
and different.
He
We
too
also,
ingrained in the
yeah,
stuff. Whatever he's on, he's different.
he is very different, and that's okay. Like, he's authentically himself. But as far as like choosing him as, I mean, your teammate is your business partner. I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't want to partner with Kyrie if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And then what he pulled with LeBron too. Like, she's like, is he really? Are you sure that's who
Yeah.
you want to pair up with? And then James Harden he's been like a drama queen as well. I'm like,
It's too
and obviously
much.
they have that history playing with each other in OKC, but that history wasn't even enough this time around. So I think that, like, you knew the risk you were taking in trying to create this super team
Yeah.
with the Nets. So now you're upset that it didn't work, but you also left a really, really good place to do that. So I don't have as much sympathy. That's why I haven't said anything about it. I'm like, like, you're doing way too much right now for me.
I'm about to get out of the military, but I don't have the option to just, you know what? I know I signed a 6-year contract, but I'm just going to dip tomorrow. I'm like, Brett, you going to be in somebody's prison, Brett. Like,
Yeah.
most people don't have the luxuries. And of course, there's 400 jobs in the NBA, as far as players are concerned. So, of course, they have some certain luxuries that the rest of us don't have. But when I hear like the preaching down of like, Brett, I didn't have help, I'm like, Brett, you signed the contract, Brett. Like,
Exactly.
your agent does your bidding. You tell them what to go get. If they can't get it, they go where they can find it. Their job is to get a yes. Like, they hear a no, all right, their job begins. So I don't have a lot of sympathy,